Ladies and gentlemen, behold the Lord of the Decepticons himself, Lord Megatron. This is Transformers Reviews of AM-15, the Takara version of Megatron. And as you can see, he is all shiny and chromed out and wonderful, and he has some awesome colors. Just from looking at it, you know, he's a mix of black plastic with gray and then some translucent purples. And then, like I mentioned already, the shiny chrome bits. So anyway, one of the features is of this Megatron that attracted me to it was, aside from the lovely color choices, is you can't really see it that clear in this picture because they've gone absolutely crazy. Let's see here. Your eyes do not deceive you. Those are wings on Megatron's back. These little bits are just you know, stuff from like Starscream and other Decepticons. The drones you can add onto the wings, but personally I think that looks sort of ridiculous. But then again, that's just me. So anyway, he does come with 2 Microns. Let me see if we can take a look at that. And we zoom in here. You can see that he does come with the Bat Micron, and then the one above it is the one that forms his cannon. So anyway, I'm really anxious to get this version of Megatron out of the box. So let's go ahead and take a look at him. Oh, and before I forget, his stuff can form different little variations, you know, like this big sickle of death, and you know, here's the bat by itself, and then here's the bat combined with the cannon, which in my opinion just from other reviews I've seen, it kind of looks stupid. But anyway, don't have to display him like that if I don't choose to. So let's take a look at him out of the packaging. So here we have Darkness Megatron in his vehicle mode, and with both of his Micron partners. And so what we're going to do first is we're actually going to take a look at them. And so here we have the one that forms his fusion cannon. And you can kind of see that his limb proportions are somewhat off, but I guess they tried to justify that by saying that he forms a gorilla sort of Micron or whatever. But anyway, I mean, personally I don't mind it, but if I'm going to think of a gorilla, I'm going to go with something more like this. Oh, spoilers, by the way. Anyway, not a bad little thing. You'll see him here whenever I put him on Megatron here in a moment. But, you know, it's not a bad little Micron. Now, the more interesting of the two is actually this one right here. And again, I don't know what their names are. But it doesn't really matter because this thing just like screams rat bat. And, I mean, it's really kind of cool. I mean, again, your standard Micron size is this. I mean, now look at the two. I mean, if you want another little bit of comparison, here's an old Minicon, which is kind of along the same lines. So I mean, you know, he basically just really dwarfs either one, you know. And so I mean, he actually, for a little bit more of a kind of a scale comparison, we have the Generations Bombshell here. And you can see, even with Bombshell, he just dwarfs a Legends class, which is crazy. So, I mean, you know, definitely the biggest Micron to date that I'm aware of. But aside from that, you know, the aesthetics of it are really cool. In robot mode, he actually has a lot more use. He can attach to Megatron's vehicle mode, although it's just kind of like an extra set of wings, and basically plugs into the top of the cannon. And I mean, it doesn't look really that good, so I won't even bother showing you that because it just looks sort of ridiculous. But you know, in beast mode, this rat bat-esque character, not really that bad. I mean, he looks cool. He's designed well. The only thing I don't like about these Microns is you have to build them yourself and decal them and all that sort of stuff. But overall, the figures themselves, aside from all of that, are really decent. I mean, even this guy's mouth, if I can get that to open, even his mouth, I don't know if you're hearing it, his mouth opens and closes. So, But anyway, these two figures are really kind of cool. So anyway, let's move on to Megatron. So here is Megatron in his appropriate vehicle mode with his cannon and everything. One of the things I have to mention is I'm truly loving all the little chrome bits that show out. And one thing that I'm sure a lot of people will gripe about is, even though the chromed head is cool, it does kind of stick out. And I did have the Beast Hunters version of this mold, and what it did was it had a cover that came back over the top of the head and concealed it. But I'm guessing that this version of Megatron came out prior to that, so he doesn't have that sort of thing. But anyway, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really cool spaceship mode. The cannon on it, some people may say that it's oversized. I'm just going to say personally, it doesn't really bother me. I kind of like it. So anyway, let's do a little bit of a comparison here. And here we actually have the BotCon version of Rampage. And all Rampage is he's just a recolor with a different head of first edition Megatron. So, I mean, it's basically identical. All they did was change the paint and the head. Otherwise, it's exactly the same as the first edition. So, with Megatron, you can kind of see that his newer release is a little bit bigger, just size-wise and everything. The first release was obviously smaller. I mean, this has its own cool things about it. One thing you'll notice is the cannon for the first release was actually more appropriately sized to his vehicle mode, whereas the Micron for Darkness Megatron is just, you know, oversized. But if the Micron got any smaller, you'd have issues. But, you know, aside from that, I mean, you know, the main essence of Megatron's vehicle mode is maintained. So, anyway, you know, like I said, his vehicle mode is really cool. I'm loving it. Not really any complaints. The kind of, you know, dark energon colors with his normal grays and stuff, and even the addition of the black parts doesn't even bother me. Just because it really flows well together. I mean, he's a bad guy, so I mean, it fits, it works. So, anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at Megatron in robot mode. All hail the Emperor of Destruction. Man, he just looks really, really menacing. I mean, you know, when they show Megatron in the show, you see him in his gray color scheme and all that stuff. Well, whenever I envision what would it look like, you know, if it was real, I envision it looking more like this, with all this shiny, metallic, reflective stuff going on. I mean, as opposed to just a dark gray metal. One of the things I'm loving for this version of Megatron is he has little tiny decorative bits all over him that are obviously decals. But the one thing that, I mean, it just adds a little tiny aesthetic decal or detail that breaks up just kind of this flat, boring gray. But again, in robot mode, his parts, they like the purple really stands out. And I'm just, it's really just kind of a cool look. I've liked this mold ever since I had the Beast Hunters version. And personally, his little bits back here that you know, form the canopy that kind of surround the head. Even on the Beast Hunters, these have always looked like wings, and I was like, well, that's kind of cool because it kind of gives Megatron a look that I think looks nice. But you know, if you're wanting more show accurate, you just kind of fold them up like this, and they sit back there. But from the front view, he looks more like he does in the show. But if we're going to be talking about wings, that's where this Micron comes into play. That makes this really cool. That's kind of, this Micron is what makes this, part of what makes this Megatron really kind of cool. Is back here on his back, where you would plug in the cannon in vehicle mode, or the Dark Star Saber holster if you have that sort of thing, which I need to get again. This is where his Micron plugs in. And it fits in there all nice and secure and such. Oh, oh. Now you want to talk about wings. Yeah. I'm just saying, even on his packaging and stuff, I don't know what it is. A Megatron with a pair of wings just looks really kind of cool to me. you know, you can kind of imagine Megatron, if he'd had these in the show, you know, just kind of sitting there, you know, floating or whatever, just kind of sitting there blasting people, which I think that's kind of cool. It just makes him look more really kind of mean and you know, just a nightmarish vision, if you will. But overall, I mean, the Micron, whenever he's back there, I mean, yeah, it is a little bit of a backpack, but who cares? It's all about how it looks, right? So anyway, I'm not really upset with anything. I mean, the only thing that I don't like is on my version, I don't know if this is your standard deal or not, but my legs, even on the Beast Machines version, just these legs down here are really kind of loose, and they like to kind of flop around, you know, I mean, like that. But that's just my minor nitpick. I mean, everything else about this, the look, the transformation, just a little bit of cool factor that both of these Microns have. You know what? If you can swing it, I definitely give my recommendation. So anyway, this has been another edition of Transformers Reviews looking at Darkness Megatron, and we'll see you guys next time.